So Shams also further goes on to say that the Lakers will be pursuing a third playmaker who plays shot creation around LeBron and Anthony Davis. The Lakers are expected to show interest in several free agents such as Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Spencer Dinwiddie, and have also discussed the deal with the Kings that were centered around Buddy Hield for Kyle Kuzma.
No.
So I love the idea of Buddy Hield playing for the Lakers.
Absolutely.
I think that I love the LeBron drive-in dish scheme when he just has like the shooter in the corner, and we've talked many times about Buddy Hield as a shooter. So to answer your question, I don't think so. Just because I think that at this point, let's call it what it is. I mean, I think everyone feels like LeBron James is in the twilight of his career. It's the first time we're going into a season where we're like not even having a debate of him potentially being the top player in the league. We're now looking at him being in that like 3 to 6 range, more than likely.
Right.
Behind Giannis and KD, and maybe, who else there's people can throw out there. That's a show for another time.
Right.
But I think for them, it's just going to be about like getting someone who can put the ball in their guys' hands. Like LeBron's going to play more power forward as he gets older now. AD is probably going to play a lot more 5 because the Lakers realize that's where they're successful. So truthfully, I think, and they don't have a ton of money.
Right.
So they're going to have the mid-level. And so that's going to be too much. That's not going to be enough to get a guy like Chris Paul if he ends up leaving Phoenix. It's just not going to work.
Right.
They're not going to be able to trade for Bradley Beal just because it's just not going to work. So if I'm the Lakers, target number 1, just for what I can make happen, is Kyle Lowry. It's the one that makes the most sense. You got the shot creation. You got the ball movement skills. You don't have to give up that pick because Kyle Lowry is an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah.
So you may have to like move some guys around to make some money. Woj reported today that the Lakers have every team he's talked to, the Lakers have offered KCP and Kuzma. They're like that guy that's sitting outside like the grocery store, like, would you like some? Hey, I got this. You want some?
Hey man, I'm selling candy bars for my AAU team. You want one? He's that guy,
Yeah.
Hey, does the Lakers get away with some robbery though if they're able to straight up trade Kuzma for Buddy Hield? Like, just based off of what we've seen up to this point.
Hey, bro, it's the Kings, bro. Like nothing would surprise me about the Kings.
Vladi's like, whatever, just do it. Vladi's the guy in your fantasy football league that doesn't pay attention. He's just like, you want Julio Jones for Golden Tate? All right, man.
Yeah, cool, man. Whatever.
Yeah, I'll do that deal.
I do like Kyle Lowry. I mean, he's, for as much negative that has been kind of around him, I do like him as a shot creator, as a playmaker. But dude, like how old is Kyle Lowry? Like 36? I mean,
he's up there.
He's up there, right? Like, so do you bring in another just older guy to play? Like, I'm not dissing
Great point.
Kyle Lowry, but I'm like, LeBron's 36.
I'm 36.
AD, I mean, his body's 36 or 37. I mean, he's always falling apart.
I think he's gonna have a bounce back year next year.
Oh yeah, I do too. I don't have to say about that. But I'm 36. But then but Kyle Lowry, not saying that this is bad, but like Kyle Lowry's 36 or 37 years old. Like, does he move the needle? Like, I don't know.
Well, Ben, here's what I was going to say, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm not looking, but I'm just hypothetically thinking back to all of LeBron's years that he's played basketball in the NBA. So going back to 2004, start with Cleveland, move to Miami, back to Cleveland. His best point guard that he's ever had, well, let me quotationize that. Point guard that he's ever had has been Kyrie Irving.
Correct.
Who is not a traditional point guard. Kyrie's a point guard who averages in the mid to high 20s, and his assist numbers aren't what you would think they would be at the point guard position. So how would the offense look, and how would LeBron benefit from having a true legit point guard on his team that was on the floor for long periods of time? So we're not talking about like the Rajon Rondos of the world.
Right.
We're talking about like a CP3, like a guy who averages 8-9 assists a game. Like, how would that work in an offense that LeBron is in, where LeBron has the ball so much and he's the assist guy?
I think it would be interesting. I think the biggest thing is, I think, you kind of mentioned having Kyrie Irving there. And I think the more the benefit Kyrie Irving gave LeBron than just being a scoring point guard was the additional ball handler. So you could kind of do more things with LeBron. We talk about all these skill sets LeBron James has had all these years. And I talked about this with someone not too long ago. Might have been a prospect. But like, I think the thing we don't really talk about, because we're always like, well, LeBron, he could just get to the rim so well. And like, he has for a bajillion years now. But off-ball LeBron going to the rim is something like, you'll see highlights of him catching oops, but like, it's never really mentioned in his like elite skill set. And so I think like, if you get a guy that can set up more plays like that, more PNRs with LeBron being the roll man, and more situations where LeBron can kind of play off the screen of AD and catch a ball in the corner. We've seen his ability to shoot threes improve drastically, especially last year. He was really good until he got hurt.
Right.
So I think it just it opens up, it gets in that a whole additional dynamic of just kind of having additional guys who can make more things happen. I think where LeBron's at his best when he has the guys around him, is other guys who are creative enough, who have enough shot creativity, and also have enough high basketball IQ. I think that's why Davis and him work so well together. That's why him and Dwayne Wade worked so well together. Not just because they were otherworldly.
Well, I asked that because a guy like I keep saying Kyrie, and I'm meaning to say Kyle Lowry. There we go. Lowry, like his tenure in Toronto, his numbers are 18-7. Like that's
huge.
That's point guard material. Like that is
for sure.
If you got a guy averaging, I mean, we've seen it before where multiple guys can average that many assists on a team. I'm just saying from the standpoint of, if we were building a team to fit LeBron's skill set, do you go with a Kyrie type guy, or do you go with a facilitator that runs the offense and you move LeBron off the ball where he's never been? He has never been off the ball at a long period of time. And if he would have been, like, those numbers would have dropped significantly. He probably would have scored more and had less assists.
Yeah.
But he's not. Like, he sits right around that 7 to 8 assists per game range, which is huge. So can you have two guys on the floor consistently in an offense that averages 7 to 8 assists a game, and the offense flow, without having that guy now who's the consistent, or can you do it with AD being the number one option?
I think the Lakers are going to have to move forward and have a chance of winning a title again. Obviously, a lot of that depends on, will he be healthy? But the other thing too, when we bring up Lowry, is what are the Lakers able to offer? I mentioned earlier the kind of what their situation is, where they're strapped.
Well, they're going to offer Kuzma and KCP.
Because apparently the Sixers, Lakers, Mavericks, Pelicans, and Heat have all checked in on Kyle Lowry already.
Yeah.
So his market is going to be booming. And I don't think any of those other teams are in a better situation than the Lakers, because they have 2 top 10 players on their team. And I don't think the Clippers have enough money to make him happen, or enough items. And I just saw that they're planning on Kawhi being back whenever he can play basketball again. So that was to be expected. But yeah, I think your point's great, Josh. I think your point's really great. It's, how do we see this? Because I think we're getting to the point where, like, believe it or not, LeBron's athleticism is going away a little bit. It's not like he's not still a world-class athlete, but now he's like, basketball IQ is where he's going to be successful, where he has to be cerebral. It has to like do more things. And like, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think Kyle Lowry can really help with that.
I really think LeBron needs to go and I know people are going to start picking this apart, but he needs to be in more of that Michael Jordan role where MJ was later in his career, where he has the ball, but it's not primarily in his hands, if that makes sense. We noticed this past year, he's starting to shoot a lot more jump shots. He's hitting them at a higher rate than what he has before. I don't know if you get him in positions where maybe he starts working more and more and more on his mid-range and his post game in the mid-range. And like you said, you put him at the 4. We saw what happened with that team with AD at the 5. I mean, they're lethal. They are lethal.
They're deadly.
But I still think the route of going with Buddy Hield as a shooter, I've always said LeBron should be Magic Johnson. Just put him at the point and let him go. Just let him be a 6'8", 6'9", run the offense, So what if his points drop a little bit? If you got guys that can consistently make shots like Davis, and you get healed, and let's say he gets another knockdown shooter.
I was going to say he's going to need another. I think if they decide to go that route, they'll need one more shooter.
And they're out there. There's people out there. You need
Tyler
a guy.
Hero.
You need a guy that can
JJ
average
Redick.
15 games.
JJ Redick.
Guy to get you
Not to
10
name all white
games.
people. I'm sorry, that wasn't the point. That wasn't the point of that conversation. But like those guys are there, like
JJ Barrera.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden just like leaves the Zoom.
Right. But like the Heat have been shopping Tyler Hero. I think that he's a guy that would benefit from playing with LeBron and AD for sure.
Duncan Robinson, that'd be the real guy to go after.
Or Duncan Robinson, yeah. A guy that where he can create and somebody can get shots.
Joe Harris.
Yeah, and we have a lot that happens before. Joe Harris would be awesome. Spencer, I love the idea of Spencer Dinwiddie too.
Spencer Dinwiddie, yeah.
Probably cheaper than Lowry.
Yep. Yep.
But as far as like anything can happen before Thursday with the draft, and we'll move after these points to this point real quick. I think if you're looking at the draft, if you're a Lakers fan and you're kind of not familiar with these guys coming out this year, as far as what we've kind of been talking about, what they need to do to get better and what we've seen, the name I really like for them at 22, again, if the Lakers still have this pick, because anything can happen before Thursday, is LSU's Cameron Thomas. He played at Oak Hill, where, the same high school guys like Carmelo Anthony. He is a three-point shooter. He projects to shoot very well at the NBA level. Not necessarily the best defender per se, but consistently gets to the free throw line, shoots a high free throw percentage, does not foul a lot, even though he's not the best defender. A lot of that might just be because like LSU probably hit him. But if you're a Laker fan and you're like, okay, who can we get to help score with this team? If we can go get a guy like Kyle Lowry or Spencer Dinwiddie, I think Cameron Thomas is a great fit for the Lakers. Also, my guy, Deuce McBride. I think he'll go in the second round, but if the Lakers took him at 22, I would not be sad about it.
Yeah.